Welcome back, where we are now a couple of days into hurricane season, and while you're getting yourself and your home ready in case a storm comes through, you might be wondering what to do if you have any pets. Well, Ginger Guttner from the LSU Vet School is here to tell us all about it. Ginger, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, this is something that has become very problematic over the years, and there's a history to this about what folks should do if they have their pets, whether they're small animals or big animals. What would you say is one of the main things that they need to do?
Well, just include them in your plan. So if you know you're going to evacuate someplace, make sure the animals are welcome, whether it be family or friends or a hotel. You know, don't just assume that because it is a family member that they want your dog or your cat or your gerbil or your snake, whatever it is you have. And you need to think about things like their medical history. So you may not want to put that little rabies tag on their collar. Maybe it bothers your cat or something, and you've thrown it in a drawer. You might want to dig that out, or contact your veterinarian just to get some kind of certification so you can have that if you're going to travel with them.
Absolutely, because you might get separated from the pets, so they have to have some kind of identification. You said, of course, microchipping, that can help.
Microchipping is probably the best thing because, you know, collars can come off. They can be removed. They can get caught on things. The microchip isn't going anywhere. And most places, animal shelters in particular, will have more than one kind. Unfortunately, there's not like a universal reader.
There should be.
But at the vet school, we have more than one, for example, and so we can check multiple kinds.
Okay, now we were actually talking some history with Hurricane Katrina, and there were a lot of folks, you were saying, that tried to get on the bus, but they found out that they couldn't bring their pets, and that's a big reason why they stayed.
So with Hurricane Katrina, when they went down to evacuate people out of the city, animals were not considered at all in the protocol, and so some people refused to evacuate because they couldn't bring their pets. I think a lot of us understand that. Those rules have changed since Katrina, but I would encourage you, whether you have dogs or cats or horses or cows, check with your local Office of Emergency Preparedness if you're not sure if a local shelter will accept animals or not. I do believe now there are accommodations for people to bring their pets into shelters, or sometimes they'll be in a building next door.
Right.
So they may not be next to you, but you'll be allowed to bring them with you.
They'll be nearby, and as you mentioned, of course, you never want to assume. You always want to double check. And we're looking at your site right now. Tell us where we can find this site.
So it's lsu.edu/vetmed, and that's our homepage. And so, yeah, there's information right there.
Yeah, and you have a lot of good information on not only small animals, but for the folks out there that have big animals, maybe they're horse owners, what can they do to protect their horses?
Well, there again, with Katrina, we learned maybe keeping them locked in the barn isn't a good idea. Some horses drowned in the city. You know, if you let them out, they'll probably find high ground. And horses typically are microchipped, and they also have tattoos in their lip to designate ownership. But you have to decide what's going to work best for you. As with all things, make sure you've got enough food, enough bedding, enough hay. Again, make sure they've got all of their health certificates, paperwork, you know, because you can't just travel across state lines with certain kinds of animals. You have to have paperwork to do that. And
there are some shelters that can take certain animals in, some can't. Obviously at LSU, in past storms, you guys have taken in quite a bit.
Well, we don't board. Now, with Hurricane Katrina, we did run an animal shelter on campus. I don't know if we will ever do that again. And quite frankly, I think an emergency shelter for animals should be above I-10, not below, just for other reasons. But you can try to figure out, like I said, in advance, where you can safely take your animal with you.
Now, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with this, but is there a common mistake that a lot of pet owners make? Maybe they're not prepared enough, maybe they're not prepping the pet's medicine or something like that?
Well, I mean, I don't know about a common mistake, but again, if you've got flea and tick preventative, heartworm preventative, if they're on any kind of regular medication, don't let that run low this time of year. Once it, don't wait to try to refill it maybe in mid-July.
Yeah, absolutely. And remind the folks out there again where they can find more information from y'all.
Sure, lsu.edu/vetmed, and I do want to let people know too, the vet school remains open even if LSU's campus closes.
Really? Okay.
So if you have an animal emergency, you can we do recommend you call us first, simply because you may not be able to access campus, not because of us, but just because of streets. But we are open if people need us.
Really good information, Ginger. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We'll have more information on our WAFB.com page as well. Stick around. We'll be right back.